you got questions about barbecue or grilling, maybe as a hobby or even a business? Looking to get an expert's point of view? Why not ask Dr. Barbecue? You can submit your questions by clicking on the Ask Dr. Barbecue tab on the website. The doctor is in. Here's Ray Lampe with his nurse, Greg Rempe.
That's me, and this is Ray Lampe, Dr. Barbecue. Ray, how are you, bud?
Greg, I'm good. How are you?
Doing absolutely fabulous. So what did you think of the splash screen now that we're all professional now?
Oh, yeah, it's so professional. I'm very impressed with myself.
Hey, well, look, you had to take the reins and make sure that this thing was a proper outfit, and I certainly appreciate you doing that as we go ahead and race to get your picture up here on the screen. I apologize for the delay. Lots to get to tonight, Ray. And
the same as always, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, no problem. Well, first of all, I guess you can tell by the 18 locks to the right of your shoulder you're on the road again. Where are we finding you today?
The great state of Ohio. I'm in Columbus.
Look at that, the Buckeye City. Did you go to Thurman's, Ray? Did you go to Thurman's?
Not yet. Maybe tomorrow.
All right. Well,
try.
You got to let me know what you think about that when you huge burgers. I know you like burgers, right?
I do like burgers, yes.
Yeah, so if you get there, you have to drop me a line off air and let me know exactly what you think about it. But nevertheless, lots to get to tonight, and let's go ahead and kind of jump right into the first question. This is an email question coming in from Paul Rampolla. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I believe it's Paul Rampolla, West Palm Beach, Florida. So, your now home state of Florida. Coming in, it says, Hi, Greg, love the show. Never miss an episode. Please ask Ray tonight for tips on getting a smoke ring when cooking brisket or pork butt with a big green egg. For instance, how many wood chunks, what type of wood, temperature, duration of cook. Any help is appreciated. So, Ray, the floor is yours.
Wood and smoke ring aren't necessarily... it's not that important. Let's talk about the wood first. Cooking in a big green egg, you want to cook a brisket or a pork butt. For me, it's about the size of my fist. 2 pieces of wood that'll equal about the size of my fist, and then probably another handful of chips. Usually what I'll do is put half my charcoal in, put those 2 pieces of wood pretty much in the middle, and sprinkle some chips all around and put the rest of my charcoal. Now that's going to give me about the right amount of flavor for me. I'm not a real serious smoke eater. So I don't like heavy smoke. If you want to like more smoke, put a 3rd piece in. Smoke ring's a whole different story. Now, the big green egg is not a huge smoke ring machine. It doesn't mean it doesn't give you the good flavor, but I'll get a small smoke ring always, but you don't get that big monster. There's just no real solution to that, except for I'm gonna lay it out here. You can use Tender Quick. You can cheat. Tender Quick. Morton's Tender Quick. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I have never done it, but I know how. You make a solution. You take about a quart of water and you take about a quarter cup of Tender Quick and put it in there, maybe a half a cup. And you're going to have to experiment with this. And you soak your brisket in it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and see how it works out. It's a fake smoke ring, but Tender Quick is what makes ham red, and you'll get that big, beautiful, kick-ass smoke ring. Cheat, use Tender Quick.
Would you say that there might be teams out there that produce a non-legitimate smoke ring?
Where do you think I learned it?
Oh, hey, all right. You ain't cheating, you're not trying, right?
Well, it's not cheating, but that's one of the reasons. It goes way back to KCBS. The rule says do not consider smoke ring. I don't think there's many judges. A big, beautiful smoke ring looks good. You can't help but consider it. But that's why the rule is that way, because you can. Guys were making fake ones 20 years ago.
All right, so let me ask you this question in regards to smoke ring, and I am kind of glad that Paul wrote about this particular portion of the cooking process 5 or 6 years ago, maybe even when we did that very first brisket roundtable. It was you, It was Jim Minion, Fast Eddie, Leanne Whippen, and we did talk about this, and I think it was brought up in the form of room temperature meat versus coming straight out of the cooker, and I believe I said, well, isn't it true that if you put a ice-cold piece of meat or right from refrigerator onto cooker versus letting it sit out a little bit, there is a longer period of smoke ring development time?
Yes, that's it. Smoke ring is created by the the nitrites in the smoke and the protein in the meat, and that's what creates it. Doesn't necessarily make for a smoky flavor. That reaction ceases at about 135 degrees, give or take a few. So if you put in a cold piece of meat, I always did that. I always put my meat directly onto the cooker. I never would let it warm up, and never have. I put it directly on there, and I always felt that it helped enhance my smoke ring. So yeah, that'll help you a little bit on the big green egg, but you still don't get a killer one.
So if you don't use Tender Quick, you're looking to get a kick-ass smoke ring otherwise, and maybe he's in the market for a new cooker. Like, what cookers do you know that really put on a good natural smoke ring when compared to a pellet cooker or a big green egg or a ceramic style?
Yeah, the wood cookers, the offset smokers. The Jambo guys are probably getting a great smoke ring because they're running a nice hot wood fire, straight wood. They're probably getting really good smoke ring. That's definitely probably the best cooker available. Any kind of offset like that where you're burning all wood. Not necessarily a fan of burning all wood, but if you want a good smoke ring, that's going to do it.
Ray Lampe joining us for the weekly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Couple different websites to check out while we're talking tonight. His personal website, drbbq.com. And then, of course, if you have a question, you can go to askdrbbq.com and then submit them in from there. And they've been rolling right in over the last number of weeks here, Ray. So we thank Paul for that question.
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
Great questions.
This has been really good questions and some great information being passed about here. So, if you're listening, you have a friend that might be getting into this stuff, turn them on to the Wednesday show, for crying out loud. I mean, what are you missing except great information and two really good-looking guys? All right, well, great information at least. Next question coming from Steve Ray in Alabama. And, this is a really kind of broad, general question, but I'm sure it's one you get asked all the time. How do you go about picking the best cooker for you?
Yeah, that is a tough one. I do get asked that a lot. It's funny. There's a lot of different kinds of smokers, and being guys like we are, you get focused on one. I remember when I was looking to buy my first cooker and spend a little money, I had this one-page catalog from Dave Close, and I was looking at that Close. I wanted it so bad, but I just couldn't afford the one I wanted. And then I was looking at, there was a company called Kingfisher, and I ended up buying a Jedmaster. I met Dennis. Everybody's a little different. Boy, we're guys and we like different bells and whistles and stuff. Budget's a big thing. If your budget is limited, and most guys, their first cooker is, resist the temptation to buy the cheap offset. That's what I'm going to tell you. So let's talk about in the under $500 range. You can get a Weber Smoky Mountain, which is going to really cook really well, but it's not going to look very cool at all. Or you can get the $300-400 offset that's going to make you look really cool, but it's not going to cook very well.
Agreed.
And you're going to have to stay up all night, and you're going to get tired of that thing, and you're going to be getting rid of it. You're probably going to keep the Weber forever. It's think about it, what you really want to do. But you can't talk some guys out of it. They want that offset, and they're going to be stick burners because they heard that was cool, and they're going to buy it. You got the box smokers, and there's all kinds of different stuff. Think about what you need. Oh, I don't know, and then just buy a big green egg.
In the end, buy the big green egg. Absolutely. Here's, I probably don't feel it as much as you do, Ray, but the things that I tell people to take into account is, of course, it has to be budget first and foremost. I do, like you say, resist the temptation to buy the cheap because it's cheap for a reason, especially in cookers and some of the accessories that go along with this industry. You're really paying, or you're getting what you pay for. So there was a saying floating around, buy the best, only cry once. And I think in a lot of cases that is true with cookers and with accessories that you get here in the barbecue and grilling community. The other thing I tell people is take into account what size of group you're going to be cooking for mostly, 85-90% of the time. So that's probably the individual or the immediate family unit. But you really have to take into account, especially if you're going to get into it, and you're going to start entertaining, what's the range that it could get up to? If you have 5 people in your family, but you might be cooking for 25, you might be looking at multiple units, or you might have to step up 1 or 2 grades than you normally did so you can accommodate everything and not look like a schmuck at the end.
Yeah, you're always going to need more space. Buy the biggest one you can. But I'm with you about the quality. The offsets, you buy a cheap one, it's nothing even remotely close to an expensive one. You can buy that little cheap gas square box thing that looks kind of like a spice wine or a Stumps, but it's not. It's junk. It doesn't really work that way. And when you're buying that first one, you're enticed by this. Looks really cool, but yeah, man, it's not going to work out that well.
All right, question coming in from Dave in Oklahoma, wondering what round of the World Food Championships you might be judging this year, Ray.
I'm not sure I can say,
Oh.
But I will be there in a high-profile judging position. I just learned yesterday, but I'm not sure I can say.
Is that an event you're looking forward to?
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a blast. It's really coming together nice. I can tell you I'll be at the Golden Nugget, and you will find me at the casino bar often, so if you want to say hi, but whether I'll be judging, I don't know. But, yeah, that's a big deal, man. It's coming together fast. This thing's going to be fun. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, there's a big barbecue contest. ICS chili, I'm sorry, it's not ICS, but it's very similar to ICS. Chili contest, there's a sandwich contest, a burger contest, 7 criteria, and then at the final table on Sunday, there will be one of each. The winner of each will be there. They'll judge a bowl of chili versus a plate of barbecue, a sandwich, a burger, a dessert, a bacon category. It's a cool event. I'm very excited about it.
Ray Lampe joining us here on the show for the weekly Ask Dr. Barbecue segment, and we thank Steve for that question on how to pick a cooker. Next one from Florida as well. Pete in Florida says, Ray, can you use briquette charcoal in ceramic or Kamado-style cookers?
Well, yes, it will work. You'll get your food cooked, but it's not the right way to go. 2 reasons. For one, it's hard to light. So it's a little easier. The lump charcoal light's really easy, and that's good because you don't ever want to use fluid in your Kamado. And a chimney, there's kind of no reason to it. Kind of is a chimney. If you use lump, all you got to do is stick a couple little fire starters down in, and it starts real fast. But the second reason, and the bigger one, is ash. There's ash build up from briquettes. Even the better ones, there's a lot more ash than there is lump charcoal. And the Kamado works really well because of the great airflow. So when the lump charcoal doesn't create any ash, you get that airflow constantly. With briquettes, you're going to get an ash buildup pretty quick, and it's going to limit the airflow, and it's really going to hurt you. So not recommended. If you're in a pinch and you can light them in a chimney and throw them in there and cook your steak, sure, they'll work, but not recommended at all.
Yeah, and I can agree because I'm kind of an idiot. When I got my hands on it was called a Bubba Keg. It's gone through a number of different changes, but when it originally came out from that same area where all the other ceramic style cookers are coming out of, I was out of lump. I tried briquettes. I have a weed burner, so I got them lit without any problem. But unfortunately, about 25 or 30 minutes into the cook, when they started to ash out, yeah, that's the biggest problem with briquettes is the amount of ash that they lay off as they're burning out, and it smothered the whole fire. So, 45 minutes into it, I'm wondering why the temperatures are dropping. Yeah, well, open it up, realize that there's a huge, thick layer that can't even shake through the grate to get down into the vent to ash out. So, lesson learned, but I absolutely agree. Briquettes are a danger when we're talking about Kamado-style cookers.
Yeah, it's not going to work well. It's made to run on lump charcoal, and it'll work a whole lot better with it.
All right, next question coming from Shannon in Oklahoma. Well, Oklahoma as well. Most important accessories for your grill or barbecue?
I'm not a gadget guy. I got a rib rack. I use it in a pinch if I got to fit a lot of ribs on. Oh, I've thrown away and given away every gadget known to man because people seem to think somehow I'm going to fall in love with it and want to be their spokesman for free. What I use around the house, I use a Thermapen constantly. That's number one. Get a Thermapen. I use BBQ on my egg. I use it. I use it when I want to cook overnight and don't want to have to worry about it. Or like Thanksgiving, you want to cook the turkey out there. You want that thing to stay right on temp, and you don't want to have to be paying attention to it because you're inside doing the other stuff, watching football. I'll use it for that. So I think a BBQ is an expensive toy, but I think it works really well. So thermometers, the 2 things that make you get your food done properly are the gadgets I use all the time. Honestly, Thermapen just sent me the old style with the readout and the little cable that goes in so you could just probe the meat. I imagine I'll use that thing. Now that they sent me a nice new one, I'll probably use that on my turkey as well. I generally don't use that other probe on the BBQ. So I'm just not much of a gadget guy. I learn how to cook properly and some good rubs and sauces.
Things that I recommend, aside from, items that you have, if you are floating in between, I think sometimes people get caught up in, I'm a griller, I'm a barbecuer. I think a great grill brush is something that is key really to anything, because you want to be able to make sure that you're keeping that grilling or cooking surface clean and healthy. You know, they say the clean grill is a healthy grill, or at least our buddy Ted Reeder says that all the time. And I think, you know, that's one of those things you can cheap out on a grill brush, and you're buying 4 or 5 over the course of a year. Or if you cook a lot in the summer months, you might be burning through 2 or 3 of those because they melt. The cheap ones will shed bristles down onto the cooking surface, so you have a potential hazard there as well. So if you go, like when I got my stainless steel grates, I went to the restaurant supply store and I bought a broiler brush, and it spent $25 or $30 on it, but I had it for like 3 years. I mean, it was easily the best money I ever spent. Kept it out of the weather. I mean, it was great. They work fabulous. And then, you know, like a good sturdy pair of tongs so you can get under meat. You know, it holds weight. I mean, we're not talking about like flipping over 15 or 20-pound briskets, but, you know, decent steak or burgers, or if it's kind of a, pounding the microphone. If you're moving some stuff around, it kind of helps you move some stuff around. I think, you know, those are some really good key accessories that you shouldn't also go cheap on.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, those are things you got to have. I agree with you. I didn't think about it because those are naturals, but absolutely, because that's the stuff you're going to use every time.
All right, Ray, so you're down in Columbus, and you're doing work with who are you doing this? It's Sam's Club, right? You're doing work with Sam's Club?
Yeah, Sam's Club. Coke Zero is our big sponsor, but, man, there's a list of other ones. If you go to, actually, you know, there's a contest, cookoffbeforekickoff.com. is the website. There's a contest there. If you enter a recipe, the winner's going to get a trip to Pasadena for a BCS championship game.
Really?
It's a pretty big deal. Yeah, and I don't know, it's had a lot of traffic. I think people should look into that.
Cookoffbeforekickoff.com?
Yep. And there's a bunch of videos. That's where all the videos, we did 100 recipes and 100 videos, and the recipes are all there, but that's where you can enter for the contest as well.
All right, Cook-Off Before Kickoff. Where are you going to be at after you're done in the Columbus area?
I'm going home for a couple of days, and I'm going to Ken Hess's wedding in Huntsville, Alabama.
Really?
Ken from Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue. Yeah, Ken's an old friend, and he's getting married next week. So I'm going there, come home for a few days, and then we'll go to Las Vegas.
There you go. Big Hoss becoming an honest man, and then World Food Championships on from there. So Ray Lampe joins us each and every week. We do the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. We kind of rapid-fired this week, so I know next week we already have lined up prime rib cooking tips, because I know people get really concerned. You know, kind of an expensive piece of meat. Don't want to screw that up and look like an idiot in front of all your friends and neighbors. And then, you know, a little bit of a competition question with, and I've been getting it a lot, when should teams consider going from backyard to pro? Just a little teaser for next week. So, Ray, work on those answers. And as always, appreciate the time, and we'll look for you again next Wednesday.
Hey, thanks, Greg. And good luck to all my friends at the Jack.
There you go, Ray Lampe.